Două târguri ne-au adus săptămâna asta în Germania. Am profitat de ocazie să facem o vizită la sediul KREIDEZEIT. Hai să-i cunoaștem!
My name is Michael Meissner. I'm working at KREIDEZEIT since, meanwhile, 29 years. I have seen it from the very beginning here, or right after the very beginning. Originally, I'm an approved assistant for chemical laboratories, but I stopped working in this in this field. Here in KREIDEZEIT, I'm a technician, so I'm developing products. I'm also responsible for all the technical documentation. So all texts here are made by me. I'm responsible for safety things, so safety data sheets and so on. And I'm also a technical supporter. So if you call here, there's a big chance to have me on the phone and give you advice. KREIDEZEIT is a company which was founded about 35 years at least ago. In this area here, in a village nearby. The original reason to found it was at that time there was an environmental catastrophe in the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic coast, close to Germany. You maybe know these animals, seals. Lots of them have been dying. The reason was a leftover from the production of titanium white, which is a pigment. And always when producing this, a lot of waste acid was left over, and they flushed it into the sea, and these animals died from it. And this caused a big wave publicity. Yeah? So the people thought about environment and where the pollutions come from. And so my former or our former president seek for information how this comes from, and he thought about what did the people before. So why didn't die these animals before? And he found out about natural paints, about lime paints and chalk-based paints, and also, for example, linseed oil, and found out that all these techniques didn't pollute environment, didn't poison human beings, except of maybe several ingredients which are not allowed anymore at this time, for example, lead-based pigments. And he began with a very simple paint, which was based on chalk and bound with casein, which is a milk protein. And he exposed it on a biological market in Hildesheim, just to show the people how easy it is to make some things, and then the people would like to buy it. He was not prepared, and then this step by step, he founded this company, and we are here with about 30 people working since more than 30 years. We are selling, of course, in Germany a lot, exporting to different countries in Europe, in Asia, overseas. So the basics or the main ideas of this company still stood. So we are here taking raw materials which are really based on natural sources. We use them unchanged, so we do not process them. So maybe like the chemical industry does, takes petrol out of the earth and then has heavy chemical industries to change, to make new substances out of it. No, we take the substances as they are given. So we think this is one of the main ideas, that substances which are still in the environment, they could not be so dangerous for us, because if so, we would not exist like we are existing. So we have three or four main product lines. We have wall paints for wood, or treatments, paints and treatments for woods. We have special techniques like glossy plasters according to traditional techniques like Tadelakt and Stucco. And inside these main groups of or main product lines, we have again different lines according to their binding agent. So, for example, for the wall paints, we have traditional casein paints. We do them since 35 years, 10 years later, after founding the companies. Also protein-based or protein-bound paints based on vegetable proteins came up. No? At that time, it was only a trial. What we can do this with them today, we can serve the market for vegan people, no? who have a vegan lifestyle, and so we have options to work with plant-based materials. We have a complete lime-based production. Lime-based plasters, lime-based paints, and we have glue-bound paints like it was did with over centuries, no? In former times with animal glues, no? But meanwhile, so since decades, this is done with cellulose glues. No? We have silicate-based paints, and so all of them are free of emissions. Then we have oil paints for indoors and outdoors. We have hard oils for the floors, for desktop, for any kind of furniture, wooden panels, claddings for outside. We have oil paints for wood outside. As lasur, we have it also as opaque paints, no, full covering. And we are really successful with this on the market. I'm happy with this. So, for example, as you can see here, it's a choice of wall paint and plasters. We have very simple wall paints like here. It's still tinted with pigments. It's a plant-based, plant protein, vegetable protein-based wall paint, which can be sprayed, brushed, or rolled. We have simple plasters based on lime that can be tinted. For example, this one is one of our most sold products, a thin lime plaster called Kalklette. And based on this, many other techniques came upon. We mix some decorative ingredients into it, like glass pebbles, like walnut grains, walnut shell grains, like vermiculite mica. It's a natural mineral to create different techniques or appearances with maybe some inclusions that have a shine or a gloss, no? Or like here, no? And the rest, or here we have glass pebbles in this, no? And the rest is the technique of application. No? We have maybe one or two basic materials, then some additive ingredients to cause these special appearances. The rest is technique. Sometimes a little bit more difficult than just painting, but not too difficult. And for everybody who does not know how to make it, we are offering seminars, no? Frequently every month, maybe once or twice a month. No? We have a seminar room. Everybody is invited. It's not only for professionals. Also DIY workers can come, architects can come, everybody who loves to. We have wall glaze techniques, means that a wall paint at first is applied, and then the pigment is applied with a transparent binder on top by a wiping technique. You can do it with a sponge or with a brush. Glossy plasters like here. It's the Tadelakt. No? This is a traditional Moroccan technique. Moroccan plaster, which can also be used for shower walls. No? It's resistant to shower water. A densified polished plaster, while the polishing is made with a flat stone, special flat stones where you go in with a little pressure in small circles, polishing the surface, and you cause a gloss. No? We have also other techniques like this is a kalkglätte, no? With a little shine. This is applied with a trowel and densified and polished with a trowel. And based on this, also even more glossy is, for example, stucco lustro. Don't know if we can see it in the line, in the light, this shine, no? How it is. Can you see that? Yeah, no? So of course a little bit more intense in work. But it's possible. It's also possible for DIY workers. No? Yeah. Then we have, like you can see on these walls there. So all techniques for wall application can be made in for example, here in the choice of 250 colors. That is what we recommend. But everybody can mix other colors or other mixtures out of it, and it's a near endless range of different colors. Also very intense colors. Yeah, for example, also look here. Maybe you can move the color, and if you have a good lighting, how expressive this is, this shine coming out. This is very easy. If every DIY worker can do such things. Maybe a little more time than applying just only a plaster, but it's easy. Also we have a choice of wood treatments. Actually, our showroom here is existing since about a year. It's not yet completely filled, so we at first finished the wall paints now and plasters. Now we are working on showing materials for wood. Our products for wood we have. For example, this one of our most popular products we have and most sold in the product line of oils. It's called stand oil paint. It's a covering oil paint based on traditional mixtures. It's totally free of any resins. It's totally free of any alkyd resins. Really only oil and pigments. And the advantage of this is, in opposite to many synthetic colors, like you can see it here when it is old, synthetic paints are decaying under sunlight. The sunlight, like you know it from a plastic bag. You put it in the garden in the sunlight, the sun destroys it. You touch it and it's breaking and flaking. Also, all paints, when made of too hard resins, at a certain time in the sunlight crack and then flake off. And then, when it begins, and you don't notice it too early enough, then rainwater might go through the very first cracks, and if it goes really bad, the wood absorbs too much water and might rot, and you might get lost of the for example here this window. With oil paint this does not happen. So oil paint does not crack, flake or peel off. It's only losing the gloss and then changing over the years, changing to dust. This is behaving like your skin when you go in the sunlight and when you have a sunburn. When you have a sunburn, at first your skin is shrinking. It's drying and shrinking. So, and later on, it's peeling off in very fine particles. Yeah? If your skin wouldn't do this, then you would have deep cracks, deep and hurting cracks. And this is the same what the oil paint does. It loses the shine, gets more every year, gets more and more and more matte. And after some years, you can also, when you touch it, you have a little pigment dust on the finger. But the appearance is still good. It's pretty. It's nice, and it looks intact and proper. So, in opposite to synthetic lacquers, when one's damaged, those ones you have to completely remove. So send down to the wood and then to renew everything. Put again a primer, put again new coats of paint. While with oil paint, as I said, it's getting matte with the time, losing the gloss and changing to dust. And then you only clean it and repaint. So sanding and also loss of wood while sanding does not occur anymore. Maybe at the beginning it's a bit more intense in work, and also we have other drying times like synthetic lacquers. Synthetic lacquers dry sometimes in 2 or 3 hours, and then can be used. Oil paints need 24 hours. So you have to invest a little more work and waiting time until next layer. Maybe this makes it at first a little more expensive than other paints, cheaper paints, but in the end you save money after years when you are renovating, because then you save a lot of work for the maintenance and repair. Then we have many different oils for wooden flooring, like hard oils or hard wax oils, which just protect the surface and which emphasize the grain of the wood. Since some years, it was fashionable to make shabby techniques. This means making new furniture looking old. We are applying several layers of paint. In this case, we don't use oil paints. We use the wall paints I've shown before. Apply them in different layers, sand them through that it looks worn off, and then cover it with oil to protect it. Was a time very, very fashionable. Everybody asked for this. What actually is asked very, very often is an oil-based protection for wood, but with natural effect. So the people love to treat their wood that after treatment it looks like untreated. So what we can see on this sample board, for example, is here we have a simple and usual common hard oil treatment. So here this is the wood here. In the middle, this was taped before for not touching it with paint. So here you can see the original color of wood. When you put oil on it, it emphasizes the grain, gets darker, and also, usually it is yellowing a little bit, which makes the wood even darker. And since some maybe 2, 3, 4 years, people more and more ask for treatments that do not change the color of the wood too much, that it stays light in color. This can only be achieved with pigment. So many companies are now offering, for example, oil or hard oil with a certain given amount of pigment. And it depends on the producer how much pigment he puts in it. Our experience is with our clients, they are searching for individual solutions. And you can be sure you are offering a product, for example, with 5% pigments, and then the first customer will say, "Oh, nice that you have it, but I like to have 8%, or only 3, or 12." No? So we say we make a kit out of it. We sell the pure liquid oil, the unchanged oil, and sell a pigment paste with it. And it's very easy for the people to flush the pigment paste into the oil and adjust their own, and to create their own intensity. For example, here we see a pigment titanium white in three different intensities. No? So this is what usually we recommend, no? To leave the appearance somehow unchanged. Completely unchanged is not possible with oil, yeah. But somehow light. No? But other people like to have a more expressive white, and now they can do it by their own and don't have to buy another product. Yeah? Another very important property to mention about wall paint is their shelf life. No? We know from many interior paints you can buy in the hardware stores everywhere, no? like synthetic emulsion paints. No? We know when we apply them, they are very, very bright white. Yeah, and we are happy that it's so bright white. Yeah. So and then after living, even if you don't smoke, yeah, in the house, or even if you don't burn candles, after a while you think, it might have changed. It looks somehow darker. Yeah, because the binders are yellowing, for example, and then or maybe you have like pictures on the wall, and after some maybe 2-3 years you say, maybe I like to have this picture now on that wall, yeah, and then you have behind the picture. The wall paint didn't change. No? It's lighter or whiter than around. Yeah, so you have to renovate. No? If you just only want to bring the picture from one wall to the other. With natural paints, especially the casein paint, silicate, and lime paints, you don't have that problem at all. The ingredients we have in it, they are not yellowing at all. Also after 20 years, they don't change. Yeah? And the most important fact is these paints are anti-static. This is a problem all these synthetic emulsion paints have. The binder are acrylics or PVA. Yeah? This is plastic binder. And especially in the winter time, when we warm up our rooms with central heating, the air is rotating in the rooms and moving over the surface of the wall paint, and this creates static electricity. And this absorbs or soaks dust out of the air onto the wall. This is the most important fact. No? These paints are completely anti-static. I can here say, if you are a heavy smoker, no, you can smoke or burn a lot of candles in a room, no, which cause smoke causes yellow dust. Candles are causing gray or dark dust, no, and discolorings on the wall. These walls don't attract it anymore. So even after 10-15 years with heavy influence, you can take the picture from one wall to the other and there's no shadow on the wall. No? Sometimes we say it's not good for business not to have such paints, because the people come back for buying new products for renovation much too late. No? Yeah, no? That's it.